company building is actually the most challenging and most dynamic and most stimulating thing I could build. There is unpredictable dimensions. It's not like, rebar and concrete will behave the same way as long as you understand the conditions. Glass will always be glass, right? Wood will always behave like wood. With the company, there is a people factor, there's a market factor, there's a timing factor, and everything has to fall into place in the right way before you run out of money. And this is what makes it challenging. You can have a really great product that just doesn't succeed in the market. Again, all these dimensions have to fall into place nicely together.
Hey there, I'm Graham, and you're listening to the Sales Nerds Live podcast.
As a CEO founder, you have to not only sell to investors, you've got to sell to customers, you've got to sell to people you want to recruit. And I even think that every conversation I have with teams is a certain amount of selling, because very talented people are going to have other people that are going to try to grab them and recruit them. So part of it is reassuring them that this is still a place that's worthy of their time and their heart.
On today's episode of Sales Nerds Live, host Graham Collins welcomes Tracy Young, a two-time founder who hopes to inspire other female entrepreneurs. Tracy launched TigerEye in stealth in 2021 to create modern enterprise software for sales leaders. Graham asked Tracy to elaborate on what it means to lead as a sales-led founder and how to cultivate a culture that best serves high-performing sales teams. Let's dive in. Sales Nerds Live is brought to you by your friends at QuotaPath. QuotaPath removes the manual lift out of sales commissions by automating the compensation process. We calculate and track your team's commissions, prepare them for payouts, and even give your reps the ability to forecast attainment and future earnings. We're the only solution loved by reps, leadership, and finance. Come nerd out with us on Sales.
All right, I believe we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of Sales Nerds Live. I'm Graham Collins, QuotaPath's Chief of Staff and resident sales nerd, and currently our interim VP of Sales for the past 5 months or so. And on today's episode, I'll be speaking with Tracy Young. Tracy's a former construction engineer and serial entrepreneur who founded a company called PlanGrid, where she led the company through its $875 million acquisition to Autodesk as their CEO. Her most recent venture, TigerEye, is a Y Combinator graduate and a Series A startup that she launched in stealth in 2021. And TigerEye just announced early access. The company tracks and predicts the future performance of a sales team. Tracy is a mom, wife, and feminist, and is an aspiring innovator to other female entrepreneurs looking to solve real problems by starting their own companies. She's also a sales-led founder, which I'm definitely going to dig into because I'm curious about that, with success building strong sales teams from the ground up. And today she and I will discuss how to cultivate and sustain a high-performing sales team. Welcome, Tracy.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I appreciate you taking some time to chat with me. So just to kick us off, I'd love to learn a little bit more about you and your background and what you're working on at the current company.
Sure. So I'm trained as a construction engineer, spent almost 10 years building a company and leading a company called PlanGrid. We wrote construction software, and we were very fortunate to be able to sell that company to Autodesk, it's a very good home for them, because they are the folks that create all the blueprints for almost every building we go into. And so it was a natural fit from design to construction. And I'm currently working on my new startup called TigerEye. We help teams track and predict the future performance of their sales org. The company is still in stealth, but we've opened up early access last week. So for any sales leaders or RevOps folks who are interested, we would love to show you what we're building. You can find out more information on tigereye.com.
So construction engineer, tell me a little bit about that. My father-in-law is a civil engineer. He specializes in building bridges. Am I on the right track there with construction engineer?
Yeah. So there's 2 tracks that I had as an option for me in my sophomore year of college. I could either be behind a desk running calculations all day, and to me the calculations, like the math, should work always, or I could be out on a job site actually being a part of the build process and being a part of the project management team. And so at some point in my sophomore year of college, I had to choose because the classes would sort of dictate which career path you would have. And it seemed a lot more fun to me to work on a job site. And that's the path I chose.
Cool. Okay. So that's sort of the deviation between the civil engineer and the construction engineer.
Yeah. In after I graduated, I helped build 2 hospital projects before starting my software company.
Oh, cool. That's great. And so, I mean, it's no surprise that you like building and actually sounds like getting your hands a little dirty because you have started a couple of very successful businesses. And so you clearly love that, growing those businesses, building those businesses, and been successful for it. So what is it about entrepreneurship that drives you?
Yeah, I love building things, if it's not apparent. And company building is actually the most challenging and most dynamic and most stimulating thing I could build. There is unpredictable dimensions. It's not like, rebar and concrete will behave the same way as long as you understand the conditions. Glass will always be glass, right? Wood will always behave like wood. With the company, there is a people factor, there's a market factor, there's a timing factor, and everything has to fall into place in the right way before you run out of money. And this is what makes it challenging. You can have a really great product that just doesn't succeed in the market. Again, all these dimensions have to fall into place nicely together. And it's a whole lot of fun. And I also think that the incumbents deserve a good competitor. I really think that people deserve great software to do their jobs. And, as someone who worked for a public company at Autodesk and had to use all the winners in enterprise software, I can tell you all of that software was just a pile of shit. And it made me less productive. It made me and my team less productive. Yeah. And so it's an incredible inspiration and motivator to be able to build better software for the industry.
That's great. I think I saw that your title was just simply vice president at the public traded company. Is that right?
It was vice president of nothing.
Of nothing.
I think it was strategy or something, but anyways, it was nice. It was
funny. Well, so you are a sales-led founder, and so while you're an engineer, you're not that kind of engineer, and so you bill yourself as a sales-led founder. And so, tell me a little bit about sales-led founders. What does it mean, and how has that taken a role in your career?
Yeah. So in startups, you need someone to build the thing, and then you need someone to sell it. I am a non-technical founder, and so what that means is I had to take on the sales part. And actually, I spent some time as a visiting partner at Y Combinator, and over again, we would meet these incredibly talented engineers, and I'd always look at them during office hours, and it's like, someone's got to sell this thing. So who is it going to be? And that's actually, a job that for many people who don't have the right personality, it is very scary. It was certainly scary for me, but it's actually what I've been doing for more than 10 years now. Strangely enough, is selling. As a founder, as a CEO founder, you have to not only sell to investors, you've got to sell to customers, you've got to sell to people you want to recruit. And I even think that every conversation I have with the team, there's a certain amount of selling, because very talented people are going to have other people that are going to try to grab them and recruit them. So part of it is reassuring them that this is still a place that's worthy of their time and their heart.
Yeah, selling that vision a bit. Now, my current company and my previous company, I worked for sales-led founders, and actually the startup before that one as well was a sales-led founder, and so it feels fairly natural to me. But I realize that it's not always the case, and so I'm curious how you make that transition. If we do have any sales-led founders who are listening, how you make that transition, because I do a lot of talking with early stage companies where the sales-led founder is the sales team. They are the sales team, and then they start hiring folks underneath them. And, maybe they hire a couple of account executives, or they hire a VP of sales. And as you transition out of being the sales team, being the seller, how do you then transition into those additional roles of selling to investors, selling to the company?
I mean, you just polish your selling shoes and you just sell your butt off. I think it starts with a great product. I mean, even the best salespeople aren't going to be able to sell a pile of shit, right? Actually, that's not true. I won't name any, big software company names here. Let's take that
I don't need to make any enemies, Tracy. I don't need you calling out
Sorry.
specific folks.
For this. I do think that it starts off with really understanding the problem that you're trying to solve, building a great product that actually solves people's pain points and saves them time and is truly adding value to the work they do. So it starts off there. Then it's about going in and being a business partner to someone. It's less about selling them and trying to punt your thing onto them and push your thing onto them. It's about going in, listening, understanding why their job sucks, why their life sucks day to day, and how are you going to be a part of that solution? And if you can be a business partner in that way, hey, this is where you're wasting time, and this is where headaches are coming from you in your job, and this is how our solution helps eliminate that. This is how we help you gain back an hour a week, whatever it might be. Then we can actually have a conversation. And I guess that's sort of my way of selling. When it comes to selling to investors, for investors, I think it comes to customers too. It's just like, what do they want? For investors, they want a great return on their investment. So why is this a viable company? Why is this a gigantic market that they didn't see before? Why is this the team, the one to be the ones to build and succeed in this area? And I think really putting ourselves in, people's shoes is really crucial here. In the customer's perspective, you're putting yourself in their shoes and really understanding what sucks for them. And when you're selling to investors, it's really, again, really understanding that they, what do they actually care about? And I think for investors, it's easier because, Sure. Yeah.
A lot of times.
Investors too, right? So VCs have investors too, called limited partners, and they have a fiduciary duty to make good investments that give a return to their LPs.
Yeah. And so when it comes to, you mentioned people, building a team. Let's talk a little bit about building a sales team. Or I guess it doesn't have to be a sales team. I guess it can be top talent in general. How do you go about identifying, hiring, and then in a second, we'll talk about retaining that top talent?
Yeah, we talk a lot about our culture when we first meet someone that we want to recruit. Of course, there's the technical interview. We're making sure that they have the right technical expertise, the right domain expertise. But to really ensure that we get the right people in the building, we have to talk about what matters to us. Like, these are non-negotiables. We are looking for people who are humble. We are looking for people who can communicate effectively and simply. We are looking people who will come in with a lot of trust and who will protect that trust, because without trust, we can't build anything together. And people who have enough humility to know that there is room for improvement, and it's okay for us to talk about what isn't working or where are the areas for improvement without taking it personally, that we are all here to just help each other get better and build something great for this world. So it starts with core values, and we have a huge emphasis on it. At TigerEye, we actually have another document that's it's called our commitments to each other, and it's literally 10 rules. It's like, I'll give you a couple examples. I will walk it like I talk it. I will not speak destructively behind someone's back. If my coworkers are not living up to our values, I will let them know, and I will help them understand that they're not meeting these expectations, and I will help them try to correct it. And I'm not going to be scared to do that, because they can do the same to me. And these are our commitments. It's really just to reinforce and it's just making our values really crystal clear. Like, I will not be a jerk. I will be a good teammate. Yeah. It doesn't get simpler than that, Yeah. Even a 2-year-old can understand it.
Yeah, that's right. And so do you bring up those values and that commitment document as part of the interviewing and hiring process?
Yeah.
I mean, and so much of it then goes to selling. I mean, I think that's an important thing as well. Is a lot of times people think about, interviewing and hiring as like finding the right team for them and trying to get that team, but so much of it as well is trying to help somebody know that the company is right for them. So selling them on the company as well as part of the interview and hiring.
Yeah, I think the product that we were building is important, and the team that we work with is up there too. It's so, who wants to work with a team that they don't respect or that they don't like? We're going to have a much better and funner time if we love the people we work with. And so, everyone at TigerEye, we come from all walks of life, but when it comes to our shared values, this is where it clicks. This is where magic happens. This is how it works.
Yeah. And my question is, and I'm going to take a stab at trying to answer it as well, from your perspective. But my question would be then, okay, we've hired this team. We have this group of people who we think are awesome. How do we have them stick around? And my guess is that your answer is going to be something you already said, which is the walk it like you talk it, where you actually live those values and you actually uphold that culture.
I think having hard problems to solve. I think, really talented people enjoy being challenged. Having hard problems to solve that requires the whole team to push forward together, I think at least that's something that motivates me. Having obviously a broader vision that is challenging, that is meaningful, 10, 20, 30 years from now. I think that also drives the team. And then, is this a place that cares about them? I've worked at places where my boss didn't care about me. I mean, it just sucks when, we spend way too much time at work to work with people who don't give a shit about us. And I think that that's not the case, I'm sure for your company, and certainly not the case at TigerEye.
Yeah. Yeah. I often, when interviewing and when hiring and retaining people, I talk about how much somebody gives a shit, and it can be about their work, it can be about other people, but the types of people who don't, who are okay with just kind of mediocrity and not really caring about things, not the types of people that I want to have around.
Yeah. I love that. It's heart. I want to see heart. I want to see care. I want to see passion, because life's too short for anything less.
Yeah. And I mean, Angela Duckworth talks a lot about grit. I mean, one of her famous, or that famous TED talk that I'm sure I've seen probably a half dozen times in various different contexts, and I think is incredibly important. But that it's the care as well, that giving a shit about things. So, cool. Well, so how do you then? This is relevant to me as a sales leader currently, an interim sales leader, but a sales leader. How do you keep your...
Who did you piss off at work that they had to make you interim sales leader? Because this has to be the worst job under the sun. I'm convinced of this. We talked about this before.
Yes. It's not an easy role. It isn't. This is my probably third or fourth different interim role within QuotaPath. I like to consider myself kind of a, Swiss Army knife, insert kind of business jargony term there, but firefighter, what have you. I like to be the person who can do a little bit of everything, and fill gaps within the executive organization and heck within the organization as a whole as needed. And so for a while I was running marketing, and for a while I was running RevOps and some finance. I don't have any code in the code base yet, but our CTO has been pushing me to try to learn some engineering. So maybe soon we will. But
and I was of course joking when I said, "Who did you piss off?" It's so incredibly valuable to have teammates that we can trust, that we can just airdrop into. There's probably a problem if we had to fire a leader or if they exited, and it's like a pretty turbulent team, and then you airdrop that person in. There's so much trust for that to happen. So I guess I just wanted to congratulate your leaders that they have you on the team, and then for you too, for, being able to gain their trust in that way.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a fun role. I also joke that I do a job until we hire someone who's better at it than I am, because I acknowledge that there are, if I really honed my craft and I really honed my skills on one specific thing, whether it's sales leadership or marketing or RevOps, I probably could do that full time. But for me, it's fascinating to explore all the different components of the business. So, But in the current one, I could use some advice here on keeping sales teams motivated. So as you scale up a team, you just launched TigerEye into its limited access. So I imagine you're going to be hiring a sales team before long. How do you keep those types of people motivated as you grow and as the company structure changes?
Yeah, so I think it's really easy to keep folks motivated when there is high growth. They see how many people are coming into the building. They can see their career opportunities, especially if you're talking to them about it and you're coaching them and maybe, walking through their career path of just like, okay, you're an AE now, but, you keep crushing it. We're going to need a manager and we'd love for you to apply for it. So when there's velocity and momentum, I do think it's easier. And so then it's like, how do you keep a team motivated during a recession? How do you keep a team motivated during a downturn? And maybe when it feels like, there's less momentum at the company. This is hard. And I do think that, again, the vision, the mission, the core values, and the care has to be major crucial factors here. Why are they going to stay here? Do they believe in what they're selling? If they do, if they truly believe that what they are selling is good for the world, then, I think that's a positive. Do my managers care about me? Do they care about me as a human being? Do they care about me professionally? If their manager cares, hey, that's a huge positive as well. I would stay at a company just for that. Am I learning? Am I being challenged? Am I growing as an individual? Again, if they're feeling good on those fronts, then, I think they have a better chance of staying. And then I really think those are the key ingredients. There's not much more to that.
Yeah. And the learning and growing is fascinating to me. I think the only time I've ever left companies is when I felt like I wasn't learning and growing. And a lot of that comes from coaching and training. And even in a down economic environment or in a, if your competitors are beating you out, I feel like there are learning opportunities across any situation for the right mind and the curious mind, as long as they have that guidance and leadership and support from above.
I think from above and around you. If you can also learn from your teammates, right? If everyone around you truly believe is, incredibly talented, even a 5-minute conversation, more likely than not, you'll learn something.
Yeah.
What you report to that person or not.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about coaching. Do you have a framework around coaching? Do you have a formalized approach when it comes to coaching sales reps or even sales managers or sales leaders?
Yeah, I don't know how good of a coach I am. What I am good at, I think, is listening to the team. And I've gotten better at this over the years. I probably really sucked at this early on because I talked too much. I was probably trying to compensate for something. I think maybe my style of coaching, if we could call it coaching, is just listening to what are their needs, what are their obstacles, and helping remove those blocks for them. And then also setting, ambitious goals that I think they can actually achieve, especially with the team's help, especially with my help. So then it's about pushing them to maybe a level that they didn't think was possible, to maybe feel uncomfortable in areas that they have no experience in. But I feel that it would be great for, not only would it be beneficial for the company to have them become, more experts in these other areas that they're not currently in, but then for them professionally, they're now gaining all these, skills. So maybe it's a bit of pushing and then it's a whole lot of listening.
Yeah. You're echoing how you described your sales process as well, which is funny. I mean, and that's a one way to think about it is like, what you do for a sales process is you figure out what the pain is, you figure out what not just solution selling, hey, you need to automate your commissions, like, with QuotaPath, that you can win some deals that way. But if you figure out what that actually means to the person or what that would mean to the organization, where they're having pain, where you can actually provide real value as opposed to just feature selling, you have the ability to, or you're going to win more deals. Same for when it comes to your methodology of coaching, it seems, which is like,
I also think it's so important for us as leaders and just teammates to understand what our counterparts want 5 years from now. Like, what do you want to happen in life? What are your goals in life? And like, can we help you get there? And understanding, just simply asking that question and understanding them in that way, I think just drives all the conversations moving forward in the right way. Yeah. Then we can make sure, they're working on projects that maybe can help them get there faster, whatever it might be. Everyone's wants and needs 5 years from now are different.
Yeah. I always, I think about motivation, specifically salesperson motivation, but it probably can apply to other folks, is in kind of a quadrants of what motivates them, money or pride. Now, this is a way oversimplification, but your money or your pride, and then whether it's public or private. And so your public money people are the ones who are driving fancy cars, having fancy watches, always have the newest phones and whatnot. And then your private money people are the ones who go on vacations and don't post about it, have a nice house, have a comfortable lifestyle. And your public pride people are the ones who love ringing the gong and love having everybody high five them and get public praise. And then your private pride people are some of the hardest for me personally to motivate, because they're driven by that internal need. And if you can find those people and you can help think them through, and motivate them, that's really valuable. I think those are some of the best sellers.
Yeah. I do think the revenue operations, sales operations organization has become more important over the years, especially in B2B SaaS. And this is the crew we're building software for. Because if we can be strategic in a way where, when it comes to salespeople, you were talking about, what motivates them, what drives them. Is it making money, or is it, their own pride? But regardless of their flavor of what their desires are, I can tell you that no one likes to underachieve. No one likes to get to 70% of their number, right? Everyone likes to get to at least, 80, 90, 100% of their number. And that it doesn't matter how much money you're making for the company. If you're clocking in at 70%, 60%, it just feels bad. And so, for revenue operations, it's about how do we set ambitious goals for the company that are actually achievable by the team. And, there's so much data that they could be processing to understand that, and setting the right targets and the right incentives, because that drives all the behaviors of the sales team.
Yeah. And historically, my joke has always been that the perfect sales ops person is invisible. You don't know what they do. They handle, this is back in, when RevOps was sales ops, was Salesforce admin or CRM admin. You never see them, which is perfect, because that means that everything is working properly. But RevOps is definitely coming more to the forefront of providing these dashboards for people to track their progress and to actually help the sales team be more successful. And so I think they are coming out of the shadows and into their ability to show their true impact.
Yeah, I really credit my revenue operations team to help me grow from, just a construction engineer founder to a strategic business leader. This was the team that helped me deeply understand our business at my last company and help us see that, we went from nothing to 100 million in ARR in 8 years. And I give a lot of credit to our RevOps teams for getting us there.
Yeah, that's great. Well, and now you're hoping to make RevOps people's lives easier for sure. So, all right. I have my last 3 questions. We're coming up on time here, so we can do kind of rapid fire on these and then do some plugs. But first question: what piece of advice would you give yourself on the first day of your career?
Listen more.
You had said that you may have talked too much early on in your career. Was that a concern of yours? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Listen more. I like that. Number 2, if you weren't doing what you currently do, what else would you be doing?
I would like to be mom, and I'd probably like to write a book.
All right. A novelist.
Mom now, but
Sure,
I'd like to make it to every pickup, and then the kids' pickup times are crazy. It's 12:30 and 2:30, which is in the middle of work.
I don't have kids, but I watched my sister's 2-year-old last month for a period of time, and I'm like, how do you get anything done? Like even when they're napping, it's like, okay, now's my time to do a little bit of housework or whatever. So I understand that entirely. I mean, no, I don't understand entirely. I am starting to understand that. How about that? And then finally, what are you watching, reading, and or listening to right now? And it can be work related or whatever.
I am finishing up the last season of Better Call Saul and deeply enjoying it.
Yeah. All right. I that's one that I haven't broken into. I feel like it's one of those where at this point I'm like, I'm so far behind. It'll just be one of those where one summer I'll just binge every night watching a couple of episodes. So
it's true, especially if you have an addictive personality like me. It's like I'm going to be gone for a month.
Exactly. One of my favorite Portlandia sketches is where they discover Battlestar Galactica and they just spend an entire 48-hour period. That's all they do. They just watch every single episode. So excellent. Plugs. Tracy, tell me a little bit about TigerEye and where we can find you.
If you're in sales leadership, RevOps leaderships, if you're a founder that wants to learn more about sales, check out TigerEye.com. I would love to show you what we're building.
Awesome. Even interim sales leadership?
Oh, definitely, Graham.
Especially interim sales leadership. Excellent. And then on my side, as always, QuotaPath, we do have a free trial on our website, quotapath.com. Feel free to check that out if you're looking to automate commissions, automate commission tracking, quota attainment. If you need help building those compensation plans, we built a really cool resource called Compensation Hub. comp.quotapath.com allows you to build and model and change your comp plan based on the business specifics for you, and then plug it directly into QuotaPath, and you can get your 30-day trial. So
very cool.
Awesome. Tracy, I really appreciate you and appreciate this conversation.
Thank you, Graham.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon.